Still Morning Live. Thanks for being with us. Now, the African Union Commission Chairperson, Moussa Faki Mahamat, has joined the widespread condemnation of the violence that has erupted in Nigeria during protests against human rights abuses by police in that country. And this after what appeared to be Nigerian soldiers firing at crowds of protesters, with reports that at least 12 people had died as a result. However, yesterday, some eyewitnesses said that they counted as many as 20 bodies and at least 50 wounded people. Lekan Otufodunrin is a journalist in Nigeria, as well as the executive director at the Media Career Development Network, and he joins us now for some perspective on this particular matter. Lekan, thanks so much for speaking to us, and welcome to Morning Live. So if you could just perhaps start by giving us a little bit more background to these protests. We saw some weeks ago hashtags going up on social media about ending SARS brutality, and now we find ourselves in this place where protesters are being killed. So let's just go back a few steps and give us some perspective on what's happening here, please.
Okay, so good morning. Well, it's what you call the SARS is the Special Anti-Robbery Squad that was established some years ago to address issues of rising cases of armed robbery. They were supposed to be an elite unit in the police, but over a period of time, they've been engaged in all kinds of human rights abuses, and there have been complaints. In fact, in the past, the police authorities have promised to take some necessary action. But this has persisted over a period of time. And just recently, there was an incident which was reported about somebody dying, although later it was discovered that the person was not dying, but it was a case of somebody being pushed out of the vehicle. And the social media, being a more vibrant platform these days to be able to connect, had gone wide about these abuses. And before we knew what was happening, the whole country had been caught in a wave of protests and riots by young people, which had been largely peaceful all over a period of time. But just the last 2 days ago, when the Lagos State government, where there have been more protests than other parts of the country, declared a curfew, and it was supposed to be for 4 o'clock. The location where this happened, the toll gate in Lagos, on the outskirts of Lagos Island, the protesters were still waiting. But before they knew it, the lights were taken off, and the soldiers started shooting. Although they were just singing, and shooting started. And there we have this major crisis that has snowballed more than what we are expecting.
So, Lekan, we've been talking about sketchy details, because you have protesters saying one thing and then you have government officials saying another. But what we saw 2 nights ago was, of course, an incident where it seemed as though there was shooting taking place. Can you tell us what the details are now? What clarity has since been brought to light with regard to what happened at the Lekki toll gates 2 nights ago?
What happened, like I mentioned, that Lagos State, where this particular incident happened, had declared a curfew. And that point had been a major gathering point for the protesters, because they've been gathering there. And so when the curfew was supposed to take place for 4 o'clock, they refused to leave. Later, the government issued a statement that the curfew had been extended to 9 o'clock. Because typically, Lagos is a major city where it's not easy to get back. Even if you are leaving, it could take you 2-3 hours to get back. So the protesters decided to stay put at that point and not leave. And what you will expect is that perhaps they will just be allowed to remain at that point, since they were not moving around and they were just singing the national anthem. But nobody knew how these soldiers came into view, because all along they've not been involved in trying to quell the riot. It's been mainly a police matter, even though the police who have been trying to stay away from it because they've been subject to attack by civilians. Unfortunately, there have been hoodlums trying to infiltrate this protest, but the shooting of the soldiers came in from nowhere. Although we are aware that the president met with the chief of army staff and the military authorities a few hours before that. there was no information about what role they were going to play. But so this shooting started, and that is where the military involvement came into be, and it's been very unimaginable. The day after this incident, the state governor did say that the matter had gone out of his control. More so because we know that the military, the state governor does not give directive to the military, and the federal government are not owned up to being given directive. And even the soldiers have even denied, but there are footage to show that some soldiers were shooting. They were trying to control the people, but unfortunately, there was no light in this place because a few hours before, the lights had been taken out of that particular. So there was darkness, there was shooting, but we could see footage. Thank God for social media and recording. You could see what was happening. The problem now is how many people really died. So the governor is saying he has not seen anybody die, but there from people who are at that spot about people who have died. What you can't deny that people died, but the problem is how many that we're trying to ascertain now.
So let's just get this straight. The government is saying that there were no fatalities. Is that what you are saying?
That is what the governor of Lagos State had said. He, overnight after this incident, he went around hospitals, and we saw pictures of him in various hospitals where victims were being attended to of gunshot and various degrees of injury. So we're waiting. There have been one or two, but unfortunately, in an era of fake news, you get confused about what is the reality. Some people have been declared dead with pictures, but a few hours later, some of them said they were not dead, they were not at that scene. So that is the confusion. Chances are that people died is very high, but we are trying to ascertain the exact number. That is the thing. The governor is saying he has not seen anybody from where he went, although after giving a speech, a broadcast, he owned up later to say that one person had just been confirmed dead, but that he's trying to be sure whether that person was at the scene where the shooting took place.
So just finally, Lekan, so what is expected to happen now going forward? And what's the situation like right now in Lagos?
Well, for now, there is still curfew in Lagos. Initially, it was supposed to be for 24 hours. Now it's for 3 days. Unfortunately, the curfew is not being respected by some hoodlums because the main protesters, the people protesting, who have been largely peaceful, have withdrawn. But some hoodlums are taking advantage of the situation. They are engaging in some looting. They are even burning down some major places. For example, yesterday, a major TV station in Lagos was burnt down. It's called TVC, which is affiliated with one of the main political leaders in Lagos State, who is also part of the ruling government. His newspaper, too, was almost burnt, but it was rebuilt. Another TV station was also to be burnt because they think that some of these protesters are claiming that the stations are not reflecting the reality. But going forward, soldiers are on some parts of Lagos trying to quell the riot, but principally trying to control the hoodlums who seem to be taking advantage of the situation. For now, people are staying back because there is curfew. The police are trying to see what they can do, although they are also confused because they don't want to be misconstrued to be trying to doing what they are being accused of. So even the police have been reluctant because people are not trying to stop the hoodlums. And that is, but going forward, I think that there is some bit of sanity. What is required is for the hoodlums to be controlled so that they don't take advantage of the situation.
Well, thank you so much for that perspective from Lagos in Nigeria. Lekan Otufodunrin is a journalist in Nigeria and also the executive director at the Media Career Development Network. Let's take a quick break here on Morning Live.